media training, so he knows not to say certain things so overtly, but the sentiment expressed is exactly the same. Okay, that's the only difference. Like, the language that Bill Maher uses is still like crafted around like liberal tent poles and liberal cultural signifiers enough that it can like masquerade as polite conversation when what he's saying is identical. Bill Maher never said to kill the kids before they grow up. First of all, you're literally wrong. You're wrong. Bill Maher literally does say that every broadcast. That's my point. You're so stupid. He literally says exactly that. What are you talking about? Have you not watched Bill Maher? Like, you gotta be joking. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Love you, man. But I question the efficacy of yesterday. He's a giant POS. That I get that there might be some people in the margins of his community, but if we're watching him through this arc, is very likely much on board already, and he just used you as a 3-hour attempt to rehab his image of truly incomprehensible said and believes. Yeah, I don't see it that way at all. I don't think he rehabbed his image at all throughout that process. But here's the thing. The way I view it is, and I will describe this one more time for many of you that simply fail to comprehend this. Okay. I rate everything on a curve. That's number one. Number two, I have this understanding, especially as someone whose name is Hassan, who is like a white dude, but still someone who grew up in Turkey, someone who is Muslim, from a Muslim background. I know that the average person is unimaginably Islamophobic. I've dealt with it for damn near a decade since I came to the United States of America. When I'm talking to a person individually and maintaining my composure and working through the steps, step by step, and explaining why someone is bigoted or someone's opinion is wrong or bigoted, offering historically relevant information, there's a reason for that. The reason is I might not change his mentality, okay? Other events might play a larger role in his mentality changing on this matter, but there are ton of people who are watching him who are going to respond to that patience, especially respond to the way that I'm communicating, and most likely be more charitable to what I have to say, okay, on any number of different fronts, because that entire conversation is an information faucet for me, utilizing virtually every opportunity to talk about different aspects of how, for example, freedom of speech is revoked, things that a lot of people in his community might not be aware of. It's not like I agreed on his framing. It's not like I agreed to anything he was saying. That's my goal. My goal is to change people's minds. Do you understand? Even if his perspective might not change on the matter, there's plenty of people in his community that are going to look at the situation differently. And if I get 100 people in Asmongood's community to look at the situation a little bit differently, learn something new that they hadn't known, then that's it. That's my goal. I've succeeded. Now, if there was any moment where I was like conceding to his framing on the matter, that would be an entirely different conversation. I'm not going to go in front of like a Ben Shapiro type, for example, who I would categorize as simply different than Asmongood as well, right? But even if I were to go in front of a Ben Shapiro type and have like a relatively cordial conversation, which I would not be able to maintain composure in a similar capacity to Ben Shapiro. He's a professional speaking head. He's a talking head. But here's the thing. There's never going to be a world where I concede to his framing on anything, just like I did not concede to Asmongood's framing on anything either. And that's how you get comments like this. This debate perfectly illustrates my own internal struggle when it comes to forming a kind and normal view of Middle Eastern people. I come from Poland, raised in a conservative family. I watch a lot of Asmon, and I love Hassan's commentary and the way he presents his arguments with solid factual backing. Listening to this for 3 hours and seeing the insane amount of patience and collection Hassan has had throughout, and also listening to Asmon repeat his point that I used to share over and over again, actually helped me finally see how weak, stupid, and sad such belief is. Thank you, Hassan, for doing what you do. My life has become healthier because of you. There you go. People forget that streamers like you and Asmon are talking to stadiums full of people every day. A lot of minds can be changed, and it's not too late for them. Yes, there is never a person who I think is above having their mind changed. Okay, I think there's no one that is above having their mind and their heart changed. Now, of course, tactically speaking, there are certain people that I'm not going to be as charitable to. You know, a Ben Shapiro type, or a professional right-wing commentator, or someone in a position of actual power. You have to understand, my commentary is like water, okay? And if you want to understand my method, basically my method is simple. I give back the same energy that I take. That's number one. Number two, I'm not going to concede to like that I don't agree with no matter what. But more importantly, I also am consistently, and this is something that like I think marginalized people who are professional commentary people understand this. Like always, there's always something in the back of your mind. Like if you are a black political commentator, you know that every single thing that you say is going to be under a microscope by a broad audience of predominantly white people who do not have your understanding of the world, who have never empathized with your position. So if you get really angry, for example, that they're going to, even if you're completely correct, it does not matter. The facts in that situation, no matter how hard they are on your side, are irrelevant. Okay. This is just simply how debates and how commentary and how, you know, existing in America in some ways works. That's it. So I am cognizant always of not only the person that I'm talking to and the energy that they give me that I choose to match, but beyond that, I'm also always thinking about the audience and the way that they are responding to it. Islamophobia is baked into every orifice of American society. In the post 9/11 universe, the United States of America needed to do this to justify its endless bloody war campaign as they ravaged the entirety of the MENA region. Okay. And Americans responded to that. So every American, especially over a certain age, chat, what are the laws for gays in Gaza? A gay man in Gaza, his life expectancy? Yeah, dude, anyone in Gaza, their life expectancy is pretty short. That's why, you know, 50% of the entire Gaza Strip is under the age of 18. And that is not because of Hamas or because of Islamic fundamentalism. That's entirely because of Israel. But, you know, you can try to keep making a woman in Gaza her life expectancy. Yeah, I think you're making like, I suspect you're making an anti-Israel argument without recognizing that you're doing that. Yeah, the median age of people in Gaza is literally 15. Has there ever been a group of people in history that has deserved genocide? No, of course not. That's not how that works. It is, genocide is the number one crime. Like the Germans post World War II did not deserve genocide. You know what I mean? Like there is no moral genocide. There is no defensive genocide. A Reddit comment that shows you are right. To be honest, Hassan changed my opinion on it a little bit. Not the fundamental of what Asmongood was saying, but my look at Palestine, hearing someone who heavily understands it and isn't some random Twitter user posting, hey, look at me, was pretty interesting. The fundamentals of what Asmongood was saying isn't wrong, and I do mostly agree 100%, but Hassan was pointing out that you can't imply that here the country and its people aren't in a functioning state, be it because of Hamas, Israel, or outside forces. Hassan was pointing out that Palestine as a people and culture hasn't been able to be who they are for decades because they're consistently being bombed and killed. But in the past, when Palestinians were able to be themselves, this kill all non-believers, rapes and kills for fun and concept never existed in their culture. So he wasn't sure why Asmongood was assuming that they would. I know some will say, well, they're doing it now. And the point I think Hassan was making is that they is a handful of people, and they're only doing it because there's no established ruling or government and do not represent the rest of the people. The majority of people aren't able to sort this out, stand up, or call it out because the country is constantly being destabilized. I don't think going against the only group that's fighting against the constant destabilization is a smart thing to do. It's a die by Hamas or die by Israel situation, in my honest opinion. So the only thing most Palestinians' minds is how this survived the day. That's awesome that this person who still has like resilient Islamophobic sentiment baked into his argument is like so close to fully recognizing the situation. You know what I mean? But that's it. That is the reason why I try to have these conversations. Okay. And this is being on Reddit. It makes it so crazy. I think that's where the overall problem lay, was that it felt like Asmongood was painting a broad brush across Palestine for the actions of a few crazies in other countries where the majority have no voice or say and are only thinking about when they will be bombed, not who's gay, and we need to get them. Yeah. So that's my point, and that's why I do what I do. So if you don't understand the method, it's cool. It's fine. And you can usually say this about any other kind of like marginalized identity that I seek to protect or talk about. You can be like, you're cis. You're a cishet. Man, you don't understand trans issues like that. Why are you arguing with transphobes in the way that you want to argue that you think is the most successful method and not in the way that I want you to argue? And you can say that because I'm a cis guy. I'm not trans. So you're right. I mean, you're wrong ultimately because I know what I'm doing and you don't, but I get it. But you can't really say that about Islamophobia. It's the one thing you can't really say that about me on. That's the one thing, right? So like I'm the one getting bomb swabbed at TSA, baby. You can't. So it's funny when white people try to overstep and do that. But it's fine. You do you. It's the same thing I say about any kind of group that I defend, that I talk about, it's not for you. If I'm talking about black issues with someone who's anti-black, that's not for black people, bro. That's not. It's for white people. There's a conversation for white people. Most of the conversations that I have when I am talking to an outside group is specifically targeted towards young white men, okay? So if you sometimes feel like I'm out of pocket in the way that I'm communicating certain things and it makes you feel a certain type of way, it makes you feel angry, okay? Yeah, well, it's not for you. You already know where I stand. Trust me, okay?